fine. From what I've been seeing, you know your interior angle, right? Your exterior and your central. Please use these letters when you tell me where they are. So grab any corner where two sides meet, and that would be your interior angle. So that would be 1 mark. For the exterior, you grab any side, you travel along it, you do one of those, and that would be the exterior angle. It's on the outside of the polygon. Central, you find a center, and then just make a slice, right? Slice it here, slice it there, and that angle formed between the two slices, or the two cuts, that's your central. There would be, how many sides does this thing has? 9, I believe. Let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's more like 13. Good thing I double checked. Why did I say 9? Oh, because I'm looking at the wrong key. There we go. It's 13. So this polygon actually has 13 interior angles, and it would have 13 exterior angles because at every corner there's an exterior. It would also have 13 central angles, right? We just label 1 of each. The sum of interior angles, it depends on what formula you use. If you use the one on your yellow sheet, it has the 181st. You take the number of sides, subtract 2 from it, and that gives you 180 times 11, which gives you 1980 degrees. If you forgot the degree sign, 1/2 mark deduction just on this page. Okay, 1980 is your, I can zoom in a little bit, right? There we go. 1980 there. Calculate the measure of one interior angle. The interior angle is 180 times n minus 2 divided by n. So that essentially, if you look at it, it's the same thing. So I'm just going to go 1980 divided by 13, and that is 152.31 degrees. 1 mark for that answer. The measure of one exterior angle, exterior, if you look at your formula sheet, right? If you don't know, it's like, what? I wasn't paying attention. I was sleeping the whole time I said direction. Well, there it is. Exterior angle, 360 divided by n. Okay? I don't know why anybody would sleep through my class, right? All right, this would be a 27.69 degrees. Okay. Another way of figuring out the exterior angle, anybody know? 180 minus this one, right? Why is this? Why is this? Because of the fact we talked about it that an interior angle is right next to the exterior, so they add up to 180. So if I give you either one of them, you can find the other one using this secondary formula, basically. But anyways, nonetheless, that's how you get it. The measure of a central angle, it's the exact same. So I'm going to kind of speed through this one. Right, 1 mark for that one. Calculate the number of diagonals. This one is maybe a little bit trickier, but it's n times n minus 3. I'm going to write out the formula straight from the formula sheet right here. Right there. Okay? And so you just plug in 13 times 13 minus 3 over 2. That is 13 times 10 divided by 2, which gives me 65 diagonals. If you get a decimal, you made a mistake. Okay? Sorry, you can't even see that. There we go. Fill this in. Fill this in. Go ahead. Fill this in. Okay, so should have told you, you're going to keep this one. You'll keep this. Yeah. What? They did all that work? Well, if you knew everything, then you're in very good shape for tomorrow. Okay. If you didn't, then this is the time you fill this in, right? Sum of all exterior angles, what is that? 360. Thank you. regardless of, I will put that down, regardless of the number of sides. Okay? And regardless of the number of sides, regardless of irregular or regular, it's always 360. You're paying attention. Okay. Backside. I don't like that one. I'm going to skip it right on the test. Like, ugh, I'm going to stay away from that one. Don't be scared. You can do this, right? Sum of interior angles. That's the formula I want you to start with. This is the one that your study, not study sheet, formula sheet gives you. Yeah. Okay. So you got to reverse the operations. You got to manipulate the formula. It sounds so evil, right? Manipulating a formula. Why would you want to do that? Yeah. Yes. But here's the kicker. If you want full marks, you got to like nicely show the steps. So if you guess it, you can guess it, you will only get half a mark. So you get half a mark out of 2 if you guess it, okay? But this is all about showing, right? So you start with a formula because it says sum. You plug that in, 3420. It's not that hard. Maybe it is hard, sorry. I shouldn't say that, right? Maybe it is. But and then the next step here is to divide both sides by 180. That's your best bet. Other teachers might do it slightly differently, but then you get to cancel the 180s there on the right side. And on the left side is where all the action happens, right? That's where you have to actually, right, like type stuff into your calculator. On the right side is just things canceling out. So you get 19 when you divide these two. So your next line would show that 19 is equal to, all you're left with is n minus 2. And at this step, I'm very sure your teachers in junior high taught you this one. Plus 2, plus 2. Why are we doing that? Because we want to do that. You want to cancel out stuff on the right. And on the left is where, so 19 plus 2 is 21, right? And n is all on its own. Right? I'm keeping n on the right side. It doesn't matter if you flip it at the end. If you say n is equal to 21, it's all good, right? So if you show these steps, you get 2 out of 2 on the test. If you just say n is 21 and you just do like some magic, like number divided by 180, like I'm not going to give you full marks. You have to show the proper steps. So if you want it, put it on your study sheet. All right. Pentagon has the following. Watch the word pentagon. How many sides? Penta, 5 sides. But the good news is I'm 99.99% sure that every time something like this shows up, I'll give you a diagram. So you can just count the number of sides if you're not sure. So anyways, you have the following exterior, watch this, exterior angles, 1, 2, 3, 4, it gives you 4 given, right? 4 angles given. So how would you find the 5th? Yeah, Nicola, go ahead. I didn't get the first part. 360. Exactly. Because of the exterior angles, we know that they all add up to 360. So I'm going to go 360. So if this had been a hexagon, heptagon, anything gone, right? We're going to be gone next week, right? It's always 360, right? So 360 minus 71 minus 68 minus 73 minus 74. That angle will give you 74. That last angle that you still need is 74 degrees. Okay. Allow me to, this is, I'm not really good at drawing, right? But this is definitely not, this is not a regular polygon, because at every, right, this is 74, right? And the other one is 74 as well, right? Every angle is different. This is 71. I'm missing one. Which one am I missing? 74, 73. I'm missing the 73 here, right? So basically they gave you 4, so you found the last one by subtracting it from 360, because you know they're always going to add up to 360. Okay, that was probably overkill, but anyways, that way you know what I'm talking about. Consider the following regular polygon below. Calculate the following: the value of angle C. So please remember, you can do polygons, guys. You just count the sides: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Put a check mark where you start, right? So n is equal to 15. That's the first step you need to do for polygons. Absolutely the first step. So central angle is 360 divided by the number of sides. It doesn't say find the central angle, but you should recognize, oh, Mr. Dirksen told me when it's sliced like that, then that's your central angle, right? You should notice that. And so that gives me 24 degrees. So I know that this is 24 degrees in here. Okay? The value of side x. And at first glance, right, you should notice that these two are the same. So this is 50 feet. You have a side angle side scenario. So to solve for this, we use cosine law. X squared is equal to 50 squared plus 50 squared minus 2 times 50 times 50 times cosine of the only angle you know, which is 24 degrees. I would write this down there. And so your next line is to take the square root of that whole thing. I already typed that in. So that gives you 432.2727, and that keeps going. So side x is 20.79 feet. Yep, that's your answer. So you would get 1 mark for setting it up, 1 mark for getting your final correct answer. Okay. Next, we're not done yet. The perimeter of this polygon, write this down. The perimeter would be sides, right, times the length of the side. That's basically what it comes down to with a polygon. So once you find x, just multiply it by the number of sides. So in this case, it's 15 times 20.79. And that gives you 311.85 feet. This is the perimeter of that polygon. And so now pay attention, because this is a review for the first section we did. So calculate the measures of angle M and N. So M is right here. Don't underestimate the power of this one. Right? If you have a triangle and 2 angles are given, you can find the third. So if you just focus on this one, right? Angle M is going to be 180 minus 90 minus the 45. And if you do that, you get 45 degrees for this one here. Okay? Then you go over to the other side. This is N. Okay? Angle N on the other side, this triangle here, I know that this is a 90 also, right? So 46 and 90, right? 180 minus 90 minus 46, I get 44. So you get 1 mark for each of them, just like that. So now, triangle ABD. So ABD, that's this one. Maybe I will highlight that for you. Right? So ABD goes like this. That's the one I'm talking about there. What kind of a triangle is it? By angle, it's a right triangle. Some of you are like, I know this already, right? Right, right, and these two angles are the same, which means this is an isosceles. We have no idea what the side lengths are, but these two angles are guaranteeing us that those two will be the same. Okay, so that's that. 1 mark for it. Next is the triangle ABC. So ABC, that's the whole thing here. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, so it's the whole thing. So knowing that this is 44, 45 and 44, combining them, if you add those two up, which we can, that's 89 degrees. So if you look at the whole thing, you want all three angles, and none of them is bigger than 90. So this is an acute, and because all three are different, it's scalene. Okay? And then the last one is triangle BDC, like BDC. This one here is green, and I'm just going to focus on that one. There you go, beautiful, right? That is a right, what? All angles are different, 90, 44, 46, so it's scalene. Okay? Whose headphones are those? They're blasting. Can you turn it down a bit? All right. There's a kite, 3 properties, and so you must make it look like the bottom is longer than the top. You can't make it look like a diamond, right? 3 properties, this would be 1. Dun, 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 dun. That's 1 property. The other one is the diagonals. They meet at a 90. That's another property. Another one could be that this stretch here is going to be the same as this stretch there. So I'm done now. But if you want to know the 4th one, it's that these two angles are the same. I would strongly encourage you to, on your study sheet, have those diagrams. I would not have words there, just the diagrams like this of each one, and then you know, if I ask you anything about it, you know how to answer it, right? So you get to keep this one. You all scored, hopefully you were able to do most of it, if not all of it. Okay. So I want you to take out your booklets, your note booklets, and I'm going to give you a test checklist, so you know what to kind of study for. Just go to the back. There's a blank page right at the back of this handout of the booklet, and just start writing this down. Remember, do not discard these booklets. You want them for exam prep, okay? Don't check them. Test checklist, here we go. Your most powerful tools that are your friends on this one is the Pythagorean Theorem. This is the back of the booklet. Sum of triangle is equal to 180. And the fact that a straight angle is equal to 180 as well. The back of the booklet, yeah, anywhere in the back. Do you know your two Pythagorean theorem formulas? I hope so, right? You have leg squared is equal to hypotenuse squared minus leg squared, and the other one, I'm going to be in trouble here room-wise, hypotenuse squared is equal to leg squared plus leg squared. You need to know both of those. Obviously, I think you're pretty good with them, but just keep that in mind. Sum of triangle, I don't need to say anything about that. If you know two angles, you can find a third one. Straight angle, just make sure, right? Like if this is 120, then this is 60, right? Like it's along the straight line here. Those are these three can often just solve the case for you. Okay, so I'm going to say use these to classify triangles. I'm going to have a bunch of those in there mixed in sometimes. You're going to be like solving for something. It's like, hey, classify this triangle. It's like, oh, okay, let's see, right? And obviously you always have your acute, right, obtuse. Those are your options for first name. And you have equilateral, isosceles, and scalene for your last name, right? These are your options. I will say you should be able to solve for unknown sides, angles using sine law, right? Sine law or cosine law. So review that maybe. It's not as heavy as in trig, but cosine law we have used just now. We used cosine law, so be comfortable with it. Next one is quadrilaterals. I would say you got to know properties. Sketch using markings. Where are these found? I will actually tell you exactly where to find them, and that will be on page 190 of your booklet. And if you missed the lesson, just go back to one of those days where I talked about quadrilaterals, probably the first day, and then just you know where we're at. So these are them. You have your square, you have a slanted square is called a rhombus, right? You have your rectangle, you have its cousin that is a slanted, which is called a, anybody? Nameless, okay. Parallelogram, that's right. You have these ones, what are these ones called? Trapezoid, right? This is the same as that. And then last but not least, you have your, don't call it a diamond, call it a kite, right? So these are them. Like if you know these, you're fine. The only shape that does not have parallel lines is, fill in the blank. Which one of these does not have parallel lines at all? Kite, right? Kite does not have any parallel lines. So it's distinctive in that sense. Okay, next, you got to find the height of a trapezoid. You need to be able to do that. And I will also tell you where to find examples, 193 to 194. Okay. Next, determine missing values on triangles and quads. Okay, so sometimes you're gonna have to calculate them, like it is like you gotta use Pythagorean theorem or something like that. Sometimes it's just you know the property, right? You know what it is. And you just fill in knowing that property. Right? So just a quick example here. If you see something that looks like a kite and I tell you that this is 120 and right, and it's asking you, hey, what is this? You should know that that's 120, right? Like it's just by looking at it, it's 120, right? Next, calculate you know what this is, right? Sum of interior angles, central, exterior, diagonals. Like I just don't want to write it up, but you have to be able to calculate that if I ask you. Count the number of sides. You need number of sides. Okay, that's critical to be able to do that. I'm almost done. It feels like it's never going to end, right? Polygons backwards. If you want to, you got to go backwards. So I actually have some specific examples. Page 203 plus, I'm going to write down. Just go to 203 and flip until you see backwards. If you wrote down the notes, you will have this written right next to 2 examples minimum. Okay. Next, find the perimeter of polygon. And just this from previous unit, buying new or used. When you buy used, there's 2 options, dealer and private. And if you have been building your study sheet, I don't think there should be any problems with this. I don't, like, it will be pretty basic. Just like, hey, do you remember how to do this? So you don't have to go crazy on reviewing, but make sure you have your ducks in a row, right? Test review 1. This is the first suggestion that I will give you to review for the test. You go to page 9 to 11 in the workbook. Okay, so this is in the workbook. I will post the keys to this right after you leave. Test review 2, which is a bit more challenging, but it's going to prepare you well. I'm going to give you an old AC. It's called AC number 6. This is a handout that I will give you to prepare. And one more thing, because this one is often not done well on a test. So I will kind of give you a preview of what I'm talking about. So if you have this down, you have this down? Just flip inside, like flip this over there, and just use any blank page on the inside there. Try to copy this down. So just make a line like this, and then make a V sort of like this. And I will give you that this is 100 degrees, this is 120. So 120, 100, and then put 3 big dots where the triangle is formed. And we're going to go A, B, and C like that. What type of, just do this, okay? Classify triangle ABC. I get a lot of blanks when I throw something like this at students, but it's actually not that bad at all. You just know straight angle. Straight angle is your friend. Watch this. There's a straight line there. So if we call this, if we were to fill this in, what would that be? I lost my red pen. Anyways. If this is 100, then this must be, yeah. And then I'm going to focus on this one out here. There's a straight line there. If this is 120, then this must be 60, right? You have 2 out of the 3 angles. We can easily find out that one now. Okay, so that angle right there is going to be 180 minus this 80 here, minus 60. 180 minus 80 is 100, minus 60 is 40. So this is now 40 degrees. You now have everything you need to classify that. You look at the numbers, it's acute, because none of them are bigger than 90. All of them are different. Scaling. So I hope when you come across something like that, something like it, I'm not saying it's going to be exactly like it, but that you're prepared for it, okay? This is it. This is all I have for you. So I would say go to page 9 to 11 in the workbook. I will hand out that AC. If you want to do the AC rather, it's a bit more challenging. You go for it. If you need to beef up your study sheet right now, then you do that. But do something, right?